Hey, hey, you're live.
Hi. I'm
Good
so
morning.
excited to be live.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope everybody's starting their week off with a bang. And we're starting the week off with exposing you to another beautiful soul that I have met that I feel that everyone needs to know. She's doing some amazing, amazing things. Just a really powerful, positive powerhouse. So, Debbie Berlin, welcome to the show. Hi.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Patricia, so much for having me. This is my first live interview, and I just feel so humbled that you invited me to be on your platform. And I also want to show gratitude and appreciation to Luke Bryan Smith, because that's how the connection was made, via my watching your interview of him, and I follow him, and then I just reached out to you and said, thank you for doing that interview, and you were so welcoming, say, hey, I'll interview you too. And I'm just so humbled and grateful. So thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
One thing that I have learned is you have nothing to lose by just asking, because, people, you don't know where people's hearts are, where their desires are, what their aspirations are. And maybe that's that one thing that they needed that's going to propel them to take that next leap and just jump off that cliff and say, hey, my parachute to come out. I'm going to land safely. It's going to be really good. So I'm really thrilled too, because, when I saw some of the incredible work that you're doing, especially with children, I was really drawn to that. So at some point when we get to that, or whenever you feel like sharing, I want you to really, tell everyone what you're doing with the programming. And it just seems like it's so much fun, because I noticed that it's for all ages too, so me being tech challenged, I was like, wow, that's really kind of cool. Maybe I need to do something like that. But anyway, tell us a little bit about how you were. I know you were born in where?
Yes, I was born in Miami. I grew up in Maryland, and now I'm rocking with the one-man band. That's what I used to say when I was a kid, so I'll let that be my intro. But well, first of all, I just wanted to say, as far as taking that quantum leap, I appreciate you inviting me, because doing live interviews is something, I'll admit, everybody, I'm scared right now.
Don't be.
But yeah, thank you. And multiple people have asked me, and then I'm always like trying to gear myself up. And when you responded, I was just like, okay, I'm jumping in the deep end. And, it was literally like Friday to Monday. So yeah. I scheduled it as soon as possible so I wouldn't chicken out.
I wouldn't let you chicken out if you say yes. Once you say yes, I will hunt you down. I will not go away.
Accountability. I love it. So thank you. And then, so you mentioned like being tech challenged, and, that's I want to reach people that feel that way, because I know what it feels like to feel like you can't do something with tech. And it's really like a self-talk that I have to, it's a lifelong journey of encouragement, right? Yeah. And I want to reach people that feel like this is not for them, or they can't do it. And I'm always telling people we're lifelong learners, right? Yeah. We're lifelong learners. And to, I for example, I'll sometimes, help my mom with her tech, and she's a registered nurse. She used to deliver babies. And I'd say, Mom, could I walk into a hospital tomorrow and deliver a baby? It has nothing to do with age. It's just experience, practice. And, we just work on our strengths, right? Mm-hmm. So I always encourage people that we're all beginners in something, or we're all experts in something else. And, that's how we help each other, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So were you always drawn to the tech world? Like growing up, what was your aspiration? What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I grew up, I'm still growing up. But that's a really good question. I was one of those kids that wanted to be everything. I want to be an author. I want to be a teacher. I want to be an artist. And like, what am I into right now? That's what I want to be, right? And I'll tell you how I got into tech, because it's one of those stories that I tell to show people that anybody can really get into it. Mm-hmm. So I was actually working as an administrative assistant. And, when you work with administrative assistants, you use like Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. Like most people have heard of that and use that just, all the time. And so there's a concept where you can record a macro with both of those, Excel or Word, and it will do your task for you. Right. And so I'm always looking for how to do things efficiently and effective. And how can I save time here and there? So I started recording macros. And then one day I stepped into the macro, which is a thing you can do. And I saw all this code. I was like, oh, I'm in the matrix. What's going on? And literally what I did, not having a coding background, is I just, with the power of Google, just Googled like line by line. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I got to the point where I was able to create kind of like my own software for my tasks. One of my jobs was taking orders for books and materials, and I had to send out an invoice and a shipping sheet and blah blah blah. And I got to the point where I made it so I could press a button, it would print 3 copies, it would save it in this file name and this folder, and do all this stuff with VBA. That's the code language for Microsoft Office and Excel. And I just got so excited because I'm like, wow, I can make the computer do my work for me. You know what I mean? And then as an adult, I went back to school and I studied computer science later on in life. So fairly recently that I got into tech. And so that's why, I'm passionate about helping people that don't feel like it's for them or they can't do it. Cause I came about it from an unconventional way, and I'm all about encouraging people to try it. And, even just a little bit of code can help, make things more efficient for you and be fun too. So yeah.
Yeah, when you were talking about that, I went back down memory lane many moons ago when they had COBOL programming, RPG2. That means nothing to me now. I just know we had to take it to get credit. But I can remember that having to do it to pass a class was interesting because it was so foreign, but back then, that was so many years ago that when they had the big printers too, where everything right?
Yeah, dot matrix.
I remember when I finally had an assignment that I did it, and I said, well, I'm going to do it where it is say my name, and I just messed it up. So when you were saying that, it really brought back a lot of good memories, but like something like, man, that's not my lane. So I think that's fascinating. Awesome.
Good. I'm so glad. A lot of times we have some kind of experience with programming or code, or even thinking in a way that a computer language thinks. For example, I always tell people when we're thinking about algorithms, right? It's basically telling the computer to do something step by step. And so I liken it to, well, your morning routine. First you brush your teeth, then you shower, then you this, and that's an algorithm. So, I try to compare coding to things that are very accessible already, whether, you've had experience with Cobalt or, just in the way we think in our everyday life. I try to make those connections for people. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I will tell you, we have some amazing people that just popped on. So good morning, Troy. Good morning, Jamie. Some amazing people. I know, Debbie, that you will be fascinated if you're available at 1:00. I am actually interviewing Troy's son, and he's doing some amazing things too.
I love that.
You guys could collaborate, or not collaborate, but just connect. It would be a great, I think that you guys could talk the same language or whatever. And that's the whole purpose of this show, is to expose the world to beautiful people, because there's good in humanity. There's good in humanity, right? And I don't believe that everything is bad. I just don't. And so my objective and my passion is to make sure that the world sees beautiful people and what they do. And Jamie says that her son wants to learn code. So you guys connect.
Jamie, yes. Google Scratch MIT. Your son can start coding right now for free. Oh, that rhymed. I didn't mean to make it rhyme. But yes, I can. Yeah, I can talk about how I'm teaching kids to code. And Jamie, maybe that can give you some inspiration. But basically, so Scratch is a project out of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And if you literally Google Scratch, I think it's scratch.mit.edu. If you Google Scratch and MIT together, first hit. And so basically what it does is it makes coding visual and block-based. Because a lot of times when we see lines of code, it's, very intimidating, right? And that's how it was done traditionally. But now it's about making it visual, with like you're almost like putting puzzle pieces together, and you're doing a script for the computer to follow one step at a time. But it's great for kids as young as 8 years old. There's Scratch Junior, which is even for younger kids, just to start understanding the concepts. But it's free, it's online, it's amazing. I literally went to an online conference last week for Scratch around the world. And you see the projects that kids are making in like all over the world, different countries, expressing themselves, using as a diary to get their feelings out, using it as a way to collaborate with their friends. And it's just a very, very powerful a software and project. And yeah, I'm happy to give more information on that and to talk about what I do with the kids. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom. Good morning.
Yeah.
And, I think that is a great segue, Debbie, if you're open to transitioning there, is telling everyone what you are doing with the children and who you've partnered with, and what are some of your goals, what are some of your aspirations, and what's your vision, what do you see going forward, and so because we're a community here, and part of this is also not only just seeing people, but actually connecting. People need those deep connections, whether it's personally, professionally. So we want to connect, as well. And so share with us what you see happening for yourself for the Scratch program, because I'm fascinated just because I don't know, and it's new information for me that I'm happy to hear.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for asking. And so I'll tell a story of a project that I'm working on right now that I'm really excited about. So this was about a month ago. I'm literally just having lunch with my friend. And after lunch, I'm walking back to my car and I see a sign for a store. I go to the store. It's a health and wellness store, which is totally my jam. So let me check it out. And the store owner was so welcoming. And he started telling me about not just what he has in the store and the books, but also some of the things he's done in the community. And we just got to talking. And he was telling me, by the way, his name is Nate Mines of Dynamic Wellness, 401 8th Street Northeast in Washington, D.C. If you're in town, come check it out. And he was telling me that there's a teacher, Vaughn Bennett, who is the chess club teacher. I was like, and showed me the table with the chess pieces set up. I was like, wow, and he's bringing kids in on the weekend and teach them how to play chess. I'm just getting so inspired just talking to him, right? And I just said, have you ever taught the kids to code? Have you ever done code teaching? And he said, no, tell me about it. And long story short, he introduced me to Mr. Bennett, and they were so welcoming and gracious. And they said, come back next week and teach our kids to code. I was like, I'm in. And it's just taken off. And that was about a month and a half ago. And basically what I've been doing is teaching the kids how to code with Scratch, and also inspiring them, right, to believe in themselves, and also to see that STEM is accessible for them, because I'm very passionate, as we've talked about reaching kids that otherwise may not be introduced to coding, and that otherwise may not see themselves in the world of STEM, in the world of tech. So this is, I'm working with African-American children at this community center. It's the store and the community center upstairs. And one thing I learned going through school, and sometimes being the only in more than one way in a setting, whether it was the only Black person or the only woman. Yeah. And for me, I always told myself, if I'm here, I belong. And so I got through it. But I want to show up for kids. Mm-hmm. And I want them to know that even if it's a small interaction, remember in their memory, mm-hmm. there was somebody that looked like me that was doing this. And so even if they Google computer scientists and they don't see somebody that looks like them, they can have that impression, and they know that there's a space for them and they can do it. So yeah, long story short, so the community center is taken off. And again, the teacher, Mr. Bennett, and Mr. Mines, the store owner, have been so gracious. We're looking to collaborate with a mural artist in the community in order to paint the walls, like it's upstairs space, kind of like blank walls. Like we're like, let's decorate. So right now I have the kids kind of self-decorating, and they'll draw pictures, and I'll say, well, how would you inspire another kid to get into math or to science? And they'll draw pictures. You can do it. Just add the numbers. That's multiplication. In their own way. I want the kids to take ownership of the space. I want when they walk through the door, it's their space, it's their STEM center, and they can inspire other kids, right? Because you want to hear from them. And but yeah, so we're going to be working with a mural artist to paint the walls with inspiring pictures for STEM. And I've been, there on the weekends teaching the kids to code. And we're looking at ways how we can explore how chess and coding, anytime you're using your logical side of your brain, they're related, right? And, whether it's for chess or for math and again, helping the kids see that they're already engaging in STEM in everyday life. So for example, I try to look for relatable examples, right? When you're playing basketball and you're trying to, throw the ball so it hits right in that little square and it gets, right. That's physics, right? Those are angles and everything like force, and introduce things like that. Or, we'll just talk about things like rainbows, and then I'll introduce the color spectrum and, just kind of bring it in. Or, oh, you like to cook? That's chemistry.
Wow.
And have STEM, science, tech, engineering, and math be something that they realize they're already doing, right? And so I always try to give examples that they can relate to. Like, for example, if I'm helping a child understand fractions, they're not getting what's quarter of a whole. And I say, well, okay, imagine you have $1. How many quarters am I going to give you? 4? And they get it,
Yeah.
Things like that. I try to. My style of teaching and sharing is to relate it to what you already know and what you're already interested in. So yeah, it's been great, and I'm looking forward to continuing to collaborate and to grow the STEM Center. So yeah.
So do you have an online presence as far as doing online webinars or like a group setting type of initiative going forward? What are some of the things that someone hearing what you're doing that they can help or maybe make a suggestion? What is that vision?
Wonderful. Thank you for asking. So if anybody has a suggestion for me, please contact me. My website is positivepowerdev.com. There's a contact form on there. I would love suggestions, support, everything, and ways to collaborate. As far as online, right now, I'm going in person and volunteering on the weekends. I do online one-to-one paid tutoring. And as far as a group setting, that is something I would love to explore, in this age of Zoom and I would love to explore, how I might do an online class with a larger group and to be able to reach people beyond, my neighborhoods. Oh, wow, you're doing the banner. Thank you so much. So Positive Power Deb. And you can also see me on Twitter. You can see some of the work I'm doing at the center at GameDevDebbie.com. So wow, Patricia's on it. I love it. So but as far as the vision for online, I would love to start. I've done group sessions in person. Like I've gone and volunteered at elementary schools and done like their STEM days, or I've done like kind of motivational pep talk speaking for their hour of code, which is it's an international annual event where it just tries to get everybody into coding for at least an hour. Yeah. A lot of free resources for that if you Google Hour of Code. But yeah, exploring online, that sounds like the next chapter. So
see, what would you have done if you would have chickened out, which I wouldn't have allowed to happen, by the way. So FYI, anyone out there, if you commit, you're in to win. So just saying. But because now you're getting more, you get that exposure out there, and more people are then connected. Like, I'm not the only one, because there's a child, there could be an adult out there that is saying, man, I wanted to do this, and now I'm inspired to do this, right? So we have to show up. And that's one thing that I really am still learning, but it's really, and as I've been interviewing these wonderful people, is that we each have to do our part, because our part is a part of the whole nucleus of everyone coming together in peace and love and happiness, in empowerment, right?
Yes.
To help each other make it through this world, you know. And with
Yes.
our children, they're so impressionable, as you know, right? So to be able, what you think about, you bring about, right? So to be
Yes.
able to have these types of initiatives, I just think that that's something that we need more of. We need more people like Deb, and it's just really, really, really powerful. So I feel that there's some beautiful things, some next level things that it's beyond your even wildest expectations, which is the beauty of life, right?
Yes, yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much for saying that. And so oh, by the way, the website it's inverted on the banner. So right now it's saying Power Positive Dev, so it's actually Positive Power Dev. So I just wanted to let you know about that. But yeah.
It's Positive Power Dev.
Positive Power Dev. Yeah, it's a tongue twister, right?
I'm sorry, my apologies.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. I just wanted to say, in case people were Googling and they couldn't find me.
Yeah, that's my error.
No, it's absolutely
fine. Positive Power Dev.
Yeah.
Okay, let's save it.
But yeah, so now we're on it. We're on it. Positive has an I after the S. Yeah.
Oh, did I still spell it wrong?
It's okay. It's all good. Yeah. So let's see. Positive Power Dev. There we go. We got it. Virtual high five.
High five, baby.
Virtual high five. That's what I do with my students when we're on our Zoom. I'll say virtual high five.
But you know, it just shows that we just have to show up. Yeah, I made an error. Yeah. We just fixed the error. Luckily, we all did camp about it, you know. So but don't let that stop you. You know, don't let oh my gosh, I just made a mistake. It's not going to stop me from continuing this, and it's not going to stop me from finding more people that are going to want to share their story with the world too. So
absolutely. And I mean, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for for the update. And what I was gonna say is like, yeah, I'm a perfectionist too. And I've had to kind of like relinquish that because, you know, sometimes I feel like it can be paralyzing, right? It's like, I don't want to, you know, start if it's not 100% perfect. Or what if I make a mistake or say the wrong thing, you know? And it's like you said, and what you're doing, you know, is showing up. And I get a lot of encouragement from people like you that are shining their light, I call it, and showing up. So, you know, because it just shows that we don't have to be perfect or get everything right or be 100% from the beginning. Just start where you are and go forward, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I really thank you for your work and for your platform and what you're doing, you know, and that inspires me too. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I just love, this is another beautiful soul. Good morning, Teodora. Good morning. When I'm kind of harping on kids right now because I just think it's just so powerful to be able to give them a platform, but also give them exposure to positivity, to give them exposure to hope. That's the big thing. People are looking for hope. Their parents, everyone doesn't come from none of us come from a perfect environment, but you know, some just, they don't have any hope. I mean, they can't go outside. I mean, they're they're being abused. And so when you think about that and then think about the platform that you give them, something like Scratch, you know, that they can, even if they have a tablet, maybe if they're in the corner in punishment, they can at least look at that. Maybe, I don't know, but it's just another avenue for them to have a connection to the outside world that you never know if they get out of that situation, in which we hope that they do, that they will be inspired to say, I can do this too. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to know everything, but I can at least take those steps, right?
Absolutely. And you know what you're saying as well touches upon another way that games can be used. as a form of, even therapy or self-expression, right? For example, during the Black Lives Matter movement, there was a group of scratchers, they call folks that use Scratch, kids, right, that expressed themselves and connected about this topic, because it affected them, but they found a way to have a voice, really, right?
Sure.
And it's another way of expressing yourself. And some children just describe coding little mini games, animations as a diary, right? And how therapeutic that can be. And, and you mentioned some of the things that unfortunately children might be experiencing. And we all kind of go through stuff as kids, as adults, as humans, right? And like being able to have whether it's an artistic expression or some sort of creative outlet or some kind of voice, right? And that's another medium that can be used to tell your story and to get that out. Yeah, one thing that I've experienced, my dad died when I was 2. And so I grew up without a dad. And one thing even for myself, sometimes I'll go on Scratch and I've made like a little kind of storyboard of the princess whose father became an angel. And that actually helps me just to do a little mini story. And in doing that, because, you teach what you learn what you teach, and you share from your own experiences, I thought, wow, this can help me as an adult. Imagine how it could help a child that wants to express what they've gone through, and maybe they don't have the words to articulate it yet, right? But they can use this medium to share their story and to go on a path of healing, right? So so that was very important that you highlighted that, because that is also a way that this can be used. So yeah,
absolutely. You mentioned something a little bit ago about the gaming coding. So do they actually create games? What are some like the specifics of that? Because I get it, but I need it clarified a little bit more for myself, just because I find this fascinating.
Absolutely. So what you can do, so basically you go to Scratch MIT and you'll see code blocks, and you're basically using them like puzzle pieces to tell the computer what to do in order, right?
Oh, okay.
And you can also, if, like a big push now is STEAM, like putting the A in STEM to the art component, science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so you can draw in Scratch as well. You can make your animations come to life. You can draw and if that's an angle that appeals to one, you can use it as a drawing program and animate your characters, your own characters. Wow. It also appeals to folks that are into sound. The kids love the sound library. I mean, you can make your own beats and you can record your own voice. And so you can make your own background music. And, so what's nice about it is it reaches all different angles, whatever your interest is, where you come to it from, and it engages the kids, engages anybody learning a code. And you can't help but be exposed to STEM concepts when you're building software, when you're making a game. For example, the coordinate plane. I always have the kids do this, like, a positive Y up to the sky, negative Y down like a frown, things like that, right? And when you're moving, we call them sprites on the screen, any characters or objects in a video game, you're exposed to X and Y. You want it to go this. I think our cameras are reversed, so don't quote me on where I'm pointing right now. Is this right? No, that looks like left. But anyway, you have to get familiar with your X and Y coordinate plane to make a video game. So yeah, there's just so much exposure, and it's interesting because of, again, the sound and the art and making a video game or telling a story, making animation. So much you can do with it.
Yeah. I saw also that there was some, some older, younger people that you have helped as well. So talk to us about that. How did that happen? And was that because of your mom, because you had helped your mom, or is that something that you do on a regular basis, or what's your diet?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically I do like to help my mom. We all help our mom, and my mom helps me, and that's wonderful. And, like you said, it's kind of getting over the fear of, technology is intimidating, or it's not for me or my time. but I, again, encourage, and say, you can do this. And, and she's doing great now. She's doing Zooms and everything. And I'm so proud of her. But how that happened, the pictures you saw on my Twitter, is I went the first day and I worked with a group of kids. And then Mr. Bennett said, would you be interested in working with seniors as well and teaching seniors to code? And so I thought about it that week, and it's something I had never done before. And I got to Googling, and I saw an article about like an 80-plus-year-old app developer that taught herself how to code, and she has an app in the App Store. And I was like, wow, it's a village. It's not, it's accessible. And, like I said, we always talk about lifelong learning. Yeah. And, doing things like whether it's a crossword puzzle or Sudoku or simple coding, keeps your cognitive skills at any age sharp, right? And again, the ability to tell your story. Everybody has a story. And that's another way that anybody of any age can share their story. So exactly. So the picture you saw, basically it was the next week I came, and while the kids were learning chess, I get excited about code for everybody. You want to learn to code? I'll show you. So, parents and grandparents were waiting for the kids. And so we just grabbed laptops. I had an extra Chromebook, and then we just had a coding session, and they got super excited about it. So, yeah. And like I said, it takes a village as well. We are a village, right? And you think of things, what maybe a parent and a child could be coding together, or a grandparent and a grandchild, could be making something together, and it can, bring families together and do projects together. So there's so many possibilities.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I think of therapy and relaxation, I don't think of coding. But I'm excited about anyone that loves what their passion is, because I see it from a perspective for myself. I would like to learn that, just to say that I've exposed myself to something new. So I love when I see people that they're just so excited about what they're doing. I mean, because who wants somebody who's like, oh yeah, I love coding. Yeah, come and see Debbie. I wouldn't send my kid to see you. It's not happening. No way. No, she is as dull as it comes. Yeah, right? But you see somebody that's excited about what they're doing, I mean, that's like, yes, like, okay, yeah, you want to do that. So I love that we have so much individuality that, coding is your passion and you get so excited about that. I get stressed when I hear about it, but now I'm better because I know that it's not as complicated as it could be, but each individual has their own heart passion that they need to tap into and find that enthusiasm, find what makes you see. You look at you, just smile, just immediately, right? We need to tap into that. We got to tap into it. We got to listen to what our heart is telling us, and sometimes it's been there all along, and we chase other things that aren't bringing us what our passion is. And so you have to come full circle and come back and say, no, what is my heart telling me that I want to do, that I need to do? Who are the people that are coming into my life that is another little nudge saying, this is what you're supposed to be doing, you're not listening. So I just commend you for you following your heart and having the courage to step out and just do what you love. Because we may not see it right away, but it's impacting a lot of people, children, older people. And as you said, it's a group thing where we can bring families together. It can bring friendships together.
Yes.
Remember when we all used to years ago, like play tic-tac-toe? Everybody, it was like, who's going to go get bingo first? And then you graduate and you don't have 2 cards, you got 8 cards. And then you get even more, you got your spinner, you know what I mean? And you start understanding that because it just evolved into something really massive. And I see that for you. I see what you're doing. And I just encourage you, just, full speed ahead.
Thank you so much. And again, to commend you on what you're doing, like you said, following your passion and you having a platform that you can give a voice, right, to folks that are doing a different variety of work. And that's the beautiful thing about having other human beings on the planet. We can all help each other, right? Like,
Exactly.
you do what you're excited about. I do what I'm excited about. And then we teach each other and help and share,
Yes,
and we all lift each other up. So
exactly.
it's
Exactly.
beautiful. And lifting each other up is something I'm very passionate about. Where the positive power Deb comes from. I have a YouTube channel, which you can see when you go to my website. But I try to encourage people, because a lot of times, like, our self-talk can be negative, right? So I'm a big believer in affirmations. One of my first videos on the channel talks about the power of positive self-talk, coach yourself, cheer yourself
Yes.
on, right? And kind of segueing back to games as well. One of the games that I've made, and you can see a link when you go to the video, is for affirmations, right? So you're actually on kind of like a staircase, like steps, and you say a power word, and then I cheer you on. So, you say strong, and I say, yes, you are strong, so if nobody's cheered you on today, you can check out my game, and you can step by step and build your self-esteem, and it can be kind of like a coach, as you're saying your affirmations. But I believe it's important to cheer each other on, and and number one, be our number one fan, number one, because we're with us 24/7, 365, our own self, right? So we have to learn how to cheer ourselves on. And I also, enjoy sharing with folks, like, tips that help me stay positive, so they can try that as well. Like, for example, one thing I do is I record voice notes for myself. So, like, for example, I have an iPhone. I'm sure Android has something similar. But basically, when I'm in a really good mood, I'll record a voice note for myself, encouraging myself for later, right? Or saying my affirmations in my own voice, and maybe put some music behind it, or giving myself advice, and that can be really powerful, because when we're down, or we listen to our own self, encouraging ourselves, it can get you back there, right? So that's something I do in affirmations. Another thing is also, again, being inspired by folks like yourself and other people that are shining their light, So one of my other tips that I do is, sometimes I'll have, if I'm working at home by myself, I'll have a photo album on my phone cycling through of people that I admire, like Oprah or Michelle Obama. And I literally just have it on repeat. They're happy and they're smiling faces, and I feel like they're cheering me on as I go. And it reminds me of a quote. I'm not going to quote it exactly because I don't remember the words, but Maya Angelou said something to the effect of, when you feel nervous, or you're going in for a job interview, or wherever you feel like you're doing it by yourself, just remember that you take everybody with you, like your friends, your family, your ancestors, your crew, your crowd, right?
Yeah.
Even in your mind. And so, I think, again, the work you're doing, and the work that Luke Bryan Smith was doing with his is doing with his music and his craft and his interviews, and everybody else on YouTube and the internet that I get such inspiration from. When folks shine their light, it encourages us to shine our light too. So keep shining.
Thank you. I just want to clarify to make sure that on your game, when they go and check it out, that when you do the steps, the key is that you did that through code. You wrote that code for that. That's the key that I really want people to hone in on.
Yes.
Wrote the code for that. That's incredible.
Absolutely. So I wrote that game in Unity, which is a professional level software, but it's available for free for everyone. So you can literally Google Unity Game Engine, and you can download this software. Unity is a really great company. They have a lot of educational resources. When COVID first happened, they started offering free online trainings. I was actually able to go through those trainings and get certified. So, and those videos are still recorded, and the tutorials are still there. So anybody can use this and learn. And yes, I did make that game with Unity and with code. And speaking of Unity as well, because again, I believe in being a lifelong learner. Actually, later this evening, I'm going to take a Unity for VR course online. And the reason why I bring that up is because I love connecting my two passions, game dev and positivity. And I always think of the power and the potential of VR, virtual reality, to help us inspire ourselves. For example, we always know that visualizing can help us reach our goals, right? Like the athlete will run the race in their head first before they get to the Olympics, kind of thing. And I've always been excited about the potential of, imagine you're wearing a VR headset and you're visualizing your goal in the VR world, virtual reality, before it becomes a reality, right? And I think of, for example, imagine a student who doesn't have anybody in their family that's ever graduated high school, for example. Right. And they put a VR headset on and they hear pomp and circumstance and they walk up and they get that diploma. Oh my goodness. Like, if you talk about stepping into the role and visualizing, I get excited about what's possible. So that
virtual reality, man, that's a whole nother level. I I've had those on before. I mean, and it's like I'm talking to you. Like, it is that real. So I am excited to see what you're going to come up with in that world.
Me too. I'm excited to see what I learn and how I can apply it. And also wanted to let people know about Games for Change. So Games for Change is a conference. In normal times, it takes place in New York. For the past couple of years, it's been online and free. Matter of fact, you can go on their YouTube channel and see recorded videos. But I mentioned Games for Change because that was very monumental in changing how I see the potential for game technology. So essentially, it explores ways that games are used in education, used in healthcare, used in civic and social issues. And you see all the ways that is being applied, and is very, very inspiring. For example, I remember seeing a talk about a burn victim, and they were using like VR, like we just mentioned, to imagine them skiing down a hill, and it helped their body remember the feeling of being cold. And those burn victims, actually their skin tissue healed faster than the control group. The power of our mind.
The power of the mind, right?
The power of our mind. Yeah. So it's amazing the way game technology can be used for so many avenues for good. So that's another thing folks can check out.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, Debbie, it has been a pleasure. I am so excited for everything that you're doing. So thank you. Continue. I'm excited to see where you're headed with this next level with the VR. And thank you so much for sharing a lot of the content that people can go and access for nothing. So I really appreciate you being open and just, all the excitement, because it excites everybody, that energy. I want people to be drawn in and pulled with that energy, so thank you for bringing that to us today. Any final thoughts that you would like to share?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for everything you said. Again, thank you. And thank you to Luke Ryan Smith. I have to keep,
I know.
He's amazing. For folks that don't know, I've been following his music since last year. And again, when we talk about being positive, getting one in the, positive vibrations, music is so powerful. And, so, and again, I thank him because that's how we made our connection.
Exactly.
And I'm grateful to you as well for being just so welcoming and saying, hey, I'll interview you. Come, let's do this. And thank you for, even when I was like, I'm afraid, but I'm going to take a quantum leap. You made it very accessible. You say, hey, we're just having a conversation. So I appreciate you. And final words, just, folks can reach out to me, like I said, on my website. There's a contact form. If there's any tips or tricks I can help with. Again, I do private, paid online one-to-one tutoring if you need extra help. And my advice is just do it and try it out and have fun with it. And also for us to know that we can do things we haven't done before, even if something feels intimidating. And I confess, I still, have to encourage myself with tech and everything I learn in life, right? Just, keep giving yourself positive self-talk. You can do it. Baby steps, one step at a time, and don't give up, all the things we hear and know. and especially with tech changing so much, we all have to keep learning and learning. So
Right.
yeah, if folks feel like I could never do this, or what am I doing? You know, I feel that way too. So it's okay. I mean, all the time. So just, you know, breathe, take it, and just keep going. So
That's cute.
yeah. So anyway, thank you again. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. And I'm excited. So yeah, this was really good. Thank you so much, Patricia.
Awesome. So hold on, don't hang up.
Okay.
So everyone, now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. So tech doesn't have to be complicated. You can make it easy. You can get into gaming and be a gamer. You can get your gaming chair, whatever. I'm just rambling. But no, go and follow Deb, and just know that you can do anything that you want. And don't be afraid to try something, even if it's in the tech world, because I'm going to do the same thing. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Peace out.
So.